Hey everybody, we're back with an Acceptable Casualties battle report. Tonight we're going to be playing Battlegroup for our first game. We're doing 400 points, playing defense line. We'll be back in a second to go over the list and deployment. So here we have our 400 points of the 12th SS Panzer Division. We go over the list right now. So up here we have Vin's forward HQ with a half track. Over here Vin also has 3 Panzer IVs. He has 1 supply column truck right there. It's going to be my Pioneer vehicle. We're just going to proxy it as a supply truck for the Panzers. Over here, Vin has an SD KFZ7 with a 20mm flak riveting on the back of it. Down here, Vin has 1 Panzer Grenadier platoon on foot. The HQ has a Panzerfaust upgrade added onto it. Vin also has a sniper with spotter and a reinforced hideout built into it. The Sherman you see next to it, Vin has a roadblock built into the list, but I don't think he's going to be able to use it on this mission for defense line because Vin will be attacking. I think that's everything Vin has for 400 points. I didn't leave anything out, did I, Vin? I think that's all of it.
Yeah, that was all of it.
All right, so we'll be back in a second to go over the Canadian 3rd Infantry Division. So here we have 400 points of the Canadian 3rd Infantry Division. Down here I have my forward HQ. Behind him there are 2 platoons of regular infantry platoons with the command teams, the 2-inch mortar. The command team's upgraded with a Piat, and then there's the 3 rifle squads in each one of those platoons. For the first platoon over here, I have a combat medic added in, a Vickers machine gun, and then a separate Piat team attached to this platoon. And then down here for these guys, there is a medium mortar, a 6-pound gun, and then an additional Piat team for that platoon support choices. Down here, I took a Dingo from reconnaissance. I also took a carrier squad for another reconnaissance, and then behind them I have an M10 Wolverine. So this is all about 400 points. I did not. Oh yeah, and I also have an off-table 17-pounder. So with their 1 shot, so hopefully that actually comes into play. We'll see how it works. But yeah, so this is what I have for the Canadian 3rd Infantry Division. We'll be back in a second to go over deployment and the mission parameters. Okay, so we are back for deployment for defensive line. For all you guys that play Flames of War that usually watch the channel, this plays a little bit differently. So each army also has a battle rating. So for your company morale, how it works is based on what units that you buy, you get a battle rating. Every time that you lose a small unit, which would be something like a 10-man platoon, 10-man rifle squad down here, you would take a token out of a bag. It's like a chit, has a random number on it. Every one that you pull out of the bag, it takes that number away from your battle rating. So for my Canadians, I have a 32 battle rating. So if I lose somebody, any unit, no matter what it is, I take a chit out of it. I don't show Vin, so he has no idea what my morale is for the game. So I can be pulling chits left and right, but if I'm getting really low numbers on it, my guys are going to stay in and they're going to fight. So for mine, I have, like I said, I have a 32 for the Canadians, and Vin, you have what?
28.
Vin has a 28. That's right. He had a 26 battle rating, but since he's SS, he gets a bonus D6 for Fanatics. I paid for it for his list, and he rolled a 2, so he has a 28 for his. So those are our battle ratings. Over here for the objectives on this as well, you guys will see 3 objectives on the table. Each one of those objectives are under my control. They don't mean anything as far as if Vin takes 1, the game continues. If I lose an objective, I take a chit. If Vin takes all 3 objectives, the game's over. I lose because I'm the defending team and Vin's taking all the objectives. If I take an objective back after Vin takes one, like say Vin takes this one, I would take the morale chit. If I take it back under my control by pushing Vin off, then he would have to take a chit. So there's a seesaw for each of the objectives as well. So you can choose to ignore them and just try to break the company, or you can push for the objective to try to force some extra morale test, or try to just try to win the game by taking all the objectives. So for a defensive line, I have to deploy 2d6 units in the middle 2 feet of the table, which is right here. I ended up rolling at 10, so I was able to get 3 of my rifle squads along this fence line here, the command rifle team down here. I hid the Piat up behind this house over here. I have my combat medic, my 6-pounder. I have them in ambush. You roll a d3 to see how many units you get in ambush. I ended up rolling a 2, so only 1 unit. So they're in ambush holding an action. So Vin ends up walking or peeking his head out down that road. It's going to be lights out. I'll get a firing order. Back there, I have my medium mortar team. Over here, I have my Vickers machine gun covering alleyways around this house and along the back over there. And then I have a small, the man-packed mortar sitting right there. So that's what the 10 units I have on the table right now. I also get my units coming in reserve. It's a random 1d6 starting at turn 5 off the back table edge over there. Excuse me. I think how we're going to play it, though, is vehicles coming off that road.
Yeah.
And so say vehicles can come in off that road back there or the back table edge, and foot troops have to come in off the back table edge. So that's what we're looking at for that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I left out for my Canadians right now. I don't think there is anything. For Vin's deployment, he was able to bring in his sniper. So he placed him up on the hill right over here, and he's reinforced, so he's going to have like a 3-up save if he gets shot at. And then down here, Vin brought in one of his rifle teams and one of the MG34 teams as support. So that's 2 separate squads there, and he brought in one of his panzers. As far as terrain goes, all of this that you see here, like the green hedges, those are going to be hedgerows, so you can't see in or out. They go all the way down the edge over there. So you can't see in or out of them except from on top of the hills. You'll be able to look over the top of them unless you're in base contact with the hedgerow, then you'll be kind of out of sight. We're going to play these as woods, so if you're on the lip, you can see fully out of it. If you're in the middle of it, then you can only see 6 inches out of it. That's how we're going to play that. So that's how the table looks as far as terrain goes. As you guys can see, this might be tough. The mission we rolled up for Vin, he only has the real avenue to kind of break into this little farmstead through that gap there, or he pushes up this road on that flank and makes his way through that back gap over there. So there's only really 2 entrances for Vin to get in here, so he's going to kind of have to get creative. So we'll be back in a second. Vin has an artillery bombardment, so D3 units will start the game off pinned on my side. Sorry for being a little long-winded here, but this is our first game. I kind of just want to get you guys up to pace with what we're doing. So we'll be back in a flash for top of turn 1 for the Germans. So we are back for the top of turn 1 for the Germans. On this turn, things went pretty smooth for Vin. Not a lot of shooting, more positioning. Vin's reserves don't come in until turn 3 with the D6 units coming in. So Vin decided to move at the double with all these units. The tank pushed up against the hedgerow, and then these 2 guys over here, they just kind of moved at the double on foot as well to keep pace with the Panzer IV. Over here, Vin's sniper, since he has the spotter, he has a little bit further range, so he was able to get line of sight all the way back here on the medic with his first shot. He was able to observe with a 4-up to see the medic as a small team, and then he fired, needed a 5 to hit, but he ended up missing. Over here, Vin also had the same thing with the Vickers teams, only a 3-man team, so we needed a 4 to observe them. And then Vin ended up rolling a 1. So both fire orders missed. So we'll be back in a second to go over the Canadians for the bottom of turn 1. So we are back for the bottom of turn 1 for the Canadians. For this turn, I ended up getting, what did I get? Like 10 orders, I think, right?
Yeah.
I got 10 orders. I wasn't able to use all of them, but I did do some stuff here. So for movement, I'll just go down the line. These guys ended up staying still, didn't really do anything. They were pinned. This unit over here, I jumped the fence. I think I rolled like a 2. I was down to like 2 inches movement, and then plus my 5 got me up to the middle of this field right here. Same thing with my medic. I rolled like a 1 to move over the fence. Well, not a 1. I think I rolled like a 5, so my movement for my first move order went down to 1 inch, and then after I got over the fence, it was another 5, so I was able to push him up a little bit there, get him out of line of sight of that sniper, most importantly. Down over here, I moved that 2-inch mortar team up along over here to kind of give him a better range going just down this alleyway. He's not going to be that effective, and everybody else kind of stood still. Shooting-wise, there really wasn't any shooting here. Besides the Vickers over there, I was able to give some return fire down here to the sniper. I ended up failing to hit both times. I think I ranged in once, failed to hit. Second one, I failed to range in on him again, or observe him, I think is what the term is. I was also able to fire my medium mortars down, and this went way better. I think we did this right. So I gave the order for artillery there. So I had to use one of the orders for my commander here to spot in for him. I think that's how we did it. So I only had 1 shot with the medium mortars to range in. I put the marker right here in the middle. On a 2d6, and I used the scatter dice from 40K. I ended up rolling a 1 and a 2, so it went 3 inches back to here. It landed like right next to him. So that 10-inch bubble for the artillery fire, it covered all the infantry teams and the sniper. So I put 2 of the hits on the sniper. He ended up getting pinned, and these guys got pinned down here. I didn't get any of the direct. I didn't roll any 6s for direct fire to do damage to the teams. It just was enough to pin everybody. So good thing is these guys are pinned. For my end, I ended up doing a rally order since I pinned the sniper. I thought it would be a good time now to unpin some of these units. So I pulled the chit. I'm not gonna tell you what I got because I don't want Vin to know. And then I rolled a 2, so I was able to unpin my 6-pounder, sitting there watching that road, and then the Piat team is also unpinned and tucked back over here. So we'll be back in a second for top of turn 2 for the Germans. So we are back for the top of turn 2 here for the Germans. In this turn, Vin, you bastard. All right, so Vin first moved up his Panzer IV up over there. They got a clear lane at that infantry platoon that was crossing in the middle of the field right there. Vin only had 1 shot, so he tried to do the observation on the unit. He ended up rolling a 1, so he failed to observe the unit, couldn't fire. That was the end of his turn. He moved the MG34 team up to help support that, but they didn't have a range shooting on anybody, so they're just kind of hanging tight here. Vin, at the end of his turn, since these 2 units were pinned, he opted to take the rally, so he pulled the chit, and of course Vin pulled confusion. So he rolled the 1d6, he was able to unpin 2 of his teams, and then he played that confusion chit over here. So one of my teams had to take a morale test. Vin put it down on the Piat team tucked behind this objective over here, and of course I rolled a 3 on my morale, and these guys are now pinned down. They have no idea what's going on, so I'm gonna have to burn another rally token later to get those guys unpinned and deal with that tank. So that's all that happened for the top of turn 2 for the Germans. We'll be back in a second for bottom of 2 for the Brits. I gotta get myself in position for Vin's reserves. They're gonna start coming in, so we'll be back in a flash. So we are back for the bottom of turn 2. I ended up getting 7 orders with my dice, plus my 1 officer that's on the table for this turn. For this, it was really just a lot of movement. I moved my medic up, as you guys can see back here, to kind of help support this house, so I feel like this is where the fighting is going to be the bloodiest. The infantry that I had sitting here, that rifle squad, they were close enough to push into the building over there. I got 1 unit on the top floor, 1 unit on the bottom floor. Up over here on that side, he ended up staying where he was. Back here, I gave an ambush order to the Vickers team back there. The mortars, obviously, I ended up using them. I failed to spot over here. I failed the communications test. I think we're supposed to do communication tests for mortars because I think they're still considered guns. If you guys, if the battle group guys know, let me know. But I failed 2 communication tests between the officer that was observing down there, so I wasn't able to get anything going past that. Over here, that's off the table now. Down here, I gave these guys an ambush order. They already had the ambush order, and like I said, the Vickers got the ambush order. The rifle team that I moved into this building over here, I had one of my actions. I was able to try to fire down here, but I failed to observe this small machine gun team that was sitting there. I opted not to rally any of the pin down teams, which are the Piats that are there, and then the rifle team that's over here at the top of the road. So this is what we're looking at for the top of turn 2. We're going to be back now for bottom turn 2. Be back for top of turn 3 for the Germans. Vin has D6 reserves coming in, so things are probably going to get hot in a second. Be back in a flash. So we are back for the top of turn 3 for the Germans. Vin rolled his first batch of reserves for the mission, and he rolled a 1. So Vin brought in 1 Panzer IV. For his orders count, he rolled, what do you get? 6 or 7. He had more orders than he had units left on the table. Is pretty much how it went. So Vin moved twice up that flank over there on that table edge with that Panzer IV to kind of keep him out of range of fire from that 6-pounder, I assume. Down over here, next up, he had the Panzer IV. Vin tried to observe the rifle team that was in the building there. With his first firing action, he rolled a 1, so he failed to observe. And his second firing action, he rolled another 1, so that was awesome. So nothing out of that Panzer IV. For his next order, Vin went to the MG34 team over here. They opted to shoot then fire. So from here, Vin fired a whole bunch of machine gun rounds. He was able to observe into the window. He killed 3 bases?
Yeah.
Yeah, he killed 3 infantry guys on the 2nd floor with his first volley of fire, then moved up to here. Then this rifle team from here, they were also able to observe on 2 rounds of fire. Vin had, I think, 5 hits in total between that open fire order, and it was enough to knock that 2nd floor down to 1 rifleman. There's still 5 guys on the 1st floor. That unit ended up getting pinned due to the rifle fire and the casualties. And then to round it off, the sniper over here, he was able to take out the last man on the 2nd floor there. So that platoon is down to 50% right now. I think 1 more casualty, and I think it's below 50%. I think it's 1 more casualty, and then those guys have to take a morale test to see if they break off the table, but they are pinned right now. So that's all that happened for the Germans at the top of turn 3. Vin has no one pinned, so he doesn't worry about rallying at this point. So we'll be back in a second for bottom 3 for the Canadians. So we are back for the bottom of turn 3 for the Brits. I ended up getting 10 of my orders on my 2d6 plus my 1 for the commander. So my order has been pretty good with the rolls coming in. Over here also, I had my medic back there. I looked it up. I was able to bring back 1 guy on a 5-up roll. So I was able to bring up that 1 guy that was on the 2nd floor. So he's back. We patched him up. He's good to go. For our orders over here, with the small 2-inch mortar team over there, I had direct line of sight on that Panzer behind that tree right there. You can kind of see him. I opted to go to drop 2 high explosive mortars on them, hoping to either get lucky and immobilize them or pin them or do something. I ended up ranging in, observing him once, but I failed to do any damage. And then the second one, I failed to observe him. Down here, I stayed in ambush with my Vickers, my medium mortar back there. We tried to drop the barrage down here. First communications test I passed. I ended up getting a wild scatter, which dropped the barrage up to here, so I called it off. And the second communications test to range in again, I ended up failing that. So no dice with the medium mortar. Back over here, I moved my command team back to the top of the hill on that. And then I decided to take the rally order at the end of my turn, and I was able to unpin up to 6 teams, which left all 3 of them, the Piat, the rifle team that's in there, and then this rifle squad that's over here. All of them are now unpinned, and I pulled my chit. Not going to tell you guys what I got, but we're still looking pretty good. So we're back in a second for top of turn 4 for the Germans. We've got some more reserves coming in. We just got to hold the line, stem the tide for a little bit longer, so we get our till we get some of our firepower in on the table. So we'll be back in a flash. So we are back for the top of turn 4 for Vin's reserves. He got 3 teams in or 4 teams?
4.
4 teams. All right, yeah. So for Vin's reserves, he ended up getting the 20 millimeter on the truck, the Flak Veerlings. He brought his command team in from his Panzer Grenadiers, one of the rifles, the 5-man rifle teams, and then the 3-man MG34 team, all brought in over there. Vin rolled his orders up, and he rolled a 4, and then +1 with the command team gives him 5 orders. So not a big pool to choose from for this turn. So starting down here, Vin stayed parked with his Panzer IV. He fired a bunch of machine gun rounds into the small mortar team that was over here, and he just Swiss cheesed them. So I had to pull a chit for that. Lost 1 platoon. Back up there, Vin tried to fire an HE round into the Vickers team that's behind that wall, but once again, Vin failed to observe that team, so I kind of got off the hook with that. Next up, Vin decided to go with the Panzer IV here. Vin, miraculously, he's rolled 5 1s in a row to observe with this tank. So Vin hasn't even been able to fire a shot off. He's rolled 5 1s. Absolutely amazing. Hopefully that continues because I need all the help I can get. So that was his second set of orders over there. With his third order, he moved up the flak track. They came in here from reserves. Vin ended up moving them over there with the third order. The fourth order, Vin decided to give these guys, you guys the ambush or the
Move.
the move reserved order. So like on my turn, he's going to be able to move if something opens up with these guys, and they will be able to hold that order until Vin gives them a new order or until he actually uses it. And then on Vin's fifth order with the sniper over here, he failed. No, you were able to observe with the first shot. I ended up making my save, and then the second one.
I just didn't observe.
You just didn't observe on his second time to shoot with the open fire order. So that's all that happened here at the top of turn 4. And let us know, the way we read it was for every shoot order you have to observe. It's not, so if you do open fire, we're just playing it, you observe every time that you shoot, not just the first time that you shoot. So let us know if we're doing that right. I think we are, but like I said, just let us know in the comments. So we'll be back in a second for bottom of turn 4 for the Canadians. Just got to hold the line a little longer until our boys get in, so we'll be back in a flash. So we are back for the bottom of turn 4. Things are, they're not opening up, but they're starting to a little bit here. So I'm kind of still holding the line right here. I had 5 orders. I rolled a 4 plus my 1 officer on the table, so I ended up getting a 5. So what I ended up doing was I gave my Piat ambush order, as well as the rifle team. I gave them an ambush order over here. What else did I have going on? Oh yeah, the rifle team in here, I gave them an order to fire down at the sniper. I was able to observe him, and then I had 7 shots needing 5s to hit. I think I got 1 hit, then ended up making a save, so he's in pretty good shape as far as that goes. And then my second time I failed to observe to fire at him. Over there, once again with the mortar, communications test. I was going to drop the barrage down here on both of his attempts. I ended up rolling it 2, so no communications, no barrage. Like I said, I think we're playing the mortar as a gun or artillery. I think we're doing it right, so I failed twice miserably, so that kind of sucked. But that's all I had to do with my orders. Nothing else really happened. Everybody kind of stayed still. The Vickers over there, I was going to attempt to pin the Panzer, but he's still a little bit out of range, so I need to get him closer. I need a 6 to do it, so we'll kind of see what happens with that. So we're coming back. We'll be at the top of turn 5 for the Germans. When's Vin going to make his push, man? He got his reserves coming in, and the time is now. The clock is ticking, so we'll be back in a second for top of turn 5 for the Germans. So we are back for the top of turn 5. Vin is making his push. So for this turn, Vin, for his reserve dice, was able to get everybody on the table except for his supply truck that is down here. He brought his infantry over here. It was the 1 machine gun team, 1 rifle team from that squad that was left over. 1 of the Panzer IV, the officer's tank that was right there. And then he had his command and his half track coming over here. For his orders, Vin had, I think it was 9?
Yeah.
Yeah, nine orders altogether. So he was able to move a lot of people, but not everybody. Starting down here, Vin has some terrible dice moving these guys through the woods, and he's rolling like 4s, 5s, and 6s on like every move order. So he tried moving those guys. They were able to literally move 1 inch each time that they got into the woods. He opted for his rifle team. After he saw that twice, he just moved his rifle team around out into the open and just left them over there. The Panzer that was up over here, he fired a whole bunch of HE rounds down into there. His first HE shot, he failed to observe. His second one, he did observe. He dropped the HE in there, and he was able to peel off two of the guys from the Vickers team. I ended up rolling a 6 on my morale test, but I failed the that skill test. They're regular. I think I needed like a 3. I think it was a 3, yeah, to get that off. I ended up rolling a 2, so they're just kind of stuck sitting there right now. But they're not pinned, which is kind of nice. Down here, once again, this Panzer IV, absolutely amazing. So first time you fired in the HE round into the building. You hit on the first one, right?
Yeah, I observed.
Yeah, you observed, but he failed to hit with the HE round.
He was a fucking freak.
Yeah, so that didn't go that well. And in the second attempt, he failed to observe.
Yes.
Completely. Yeah, so this guy, you just burned this model, Vin. Down here with the command tank that came in from reserve, Vin moved them up 8 inches, and then he fired or attempted to range in an HE round down here, but he failed to observe that unit. Over here, Vin went, did like the double move to push these guys up to get them ready to support the assault next turn. Over here, the machine gun team, Vin ran across the open here. I had the ambush from that rifle team and that rifle team, and I failed to observe on 4 shooting attempts to get that guy as he went across the opening gap there. So blown opportunity on that, which is pretty unfortunate. What else did you have here, Vin? The sniper team. Did you do anything with sniper?
No.
No. Yeah, I think that was all the orders that Vin tried to pull off this turn for the most part. Nothing else really happened of note. So we'll be back in a second for the bottom of turn 5 now, right?
Yep.
So I got some reserves coming in off the table. Hopefully I can get some guys in here to deal with some of these panzers. So we'll be back in a flash. So we are back with the bottom of turn 5 for the Canadians. In this turn, not that great. Well, it's a mix of good and bad. So reserves, I only got a 1 from my reserve, so I opted to bring in the Wolverine to kind of try to give a little bit of fire support to my platoons that are sitting out here on the table right now. For orders, I rolled pretty good for orders, didn't I? I got like 9 or something like that. Yeah, it was like 9 orders I was able to get off. I didn't even use all of them just because of how things were set up over here. So first off, the Vickers that was there, I just decided to move them into this house here, maybe set them up for some fire for the next couple turns. The mortars I did next, and this went actually really, really well. So down here, I was able to pass 2 comms tests. I was able to range in twice, and both of my markers for each one of those firing orders, they went down over to here, and I was able to get a hit on the flak truck. And since it's a vehicle, I had like 4 wounds on it. So with the HE, I was able to peel off 2 wounds on the truck. I think we did that one right. And then down here for Vin's Panzer, I ended up getting a direct hit on both of these is what it was. I got a direct hit on top of the Panzer, so I had to roll on the side armor table. I needed an 8, I think, to pin the unit, and I ended up rolling a 7. So Vin just had to take a morale test with no damage taken to the tank, and he ended up rolling a 6. So he got a free move, so he rolled up to here, and he tried firing an HE round. He was able to observe, he was able to hit, and then for the HE damage, he rolled, was it 2 1s and 2 2s, so didn't even wound anybody in the building, so that worked out pretty well for me on that. For over here, I was able to get a 4-inch move off jumping over the fence with this rifle squad, and then my other move got them into the middle of this field out of range of fire anybody because of the hedgerows, so they'll be set up for next turn to maybe do a little support. What else did I have over here? Oh yeah, these guys I ended up putting in the ambush and letting them hold their ground. And that's really all that I have on the table right now. I still got a lot of stuff in reserve waiting to come in. So we'll be back in a second for top of turn 6 for the Germans, waiting to see what Vin's going to do here. Be back in a flash. Back for the top of turn 6 for the Germans. Vin has everybody on the table right now. His reserves, he automatically got that truck and he only had 1 left. For his orders, Vin had enough orders to get everybody to do something this turn. He has a pretty good dice. I guess we'll just start down here. So the supply truck, Vin brought in over there, and he just drove him over the top of the hill and then pushed him up against the hedgerows over there. In the shooting, I guess instead of just going through every unit, we'll just kind of go through because we'll be here forever. So Vin ended up pushing up both of that one rifle squad and the MG squad into the middle right there. And they tried to open up some fire into the building, but he failed on both of those. The reason he was able to do that is because between the 2 tanks that were down here with HE rounds and the sniper over here, Vin was able to pin this unit here, he was able to pin that unit there, and he was able to pin the rifle team in here. So Vin kind of has a pretty open alley to that objective right now with minimal people in his face. So pretty good job using this suppression. I think he suppressed everybody. That's how he did it. So Vin has a pretty good suppression dice, and he was able to, like I said, to pin those 3 units and kind of open things up for his infantry for this turn to move in there. So it was really good use of orders. Vin moved up these two units right here to kind of follow up along the back of the tank, and with his command, he moved up to the middle of the road right there, and once again tried to peel some guys out of that building, but Vin just wasn't able to get anybody observed in there or do any damage. Up on this side, Vin was able to fire an HE round in. He took 2 shots. He moved once and then took a HE shot down there at the mortars. He was able to hit one of them, but I passed my pinning check. So that unit's still there, but they're down to 2 guys. And then up over here, Vin was able to move up 2 of those infantry units, the command unit and the MG unit, and then the other rifle team is back over there. So that's everything that happened here for the top of turn 6 for the Germans. Vin's really making a push on that objective. Got to get some reserves in over here so I can kind of, stem back the tide. So we'll be back in a second for bottom 6 for the Canadians. So we are back for the bottom of turn 6. On this turn, I was only able to get 2 of the units in off reserve, and then it was the command team for the other rifle platoon, and then I brought in one of my dingoes, or my only dingo. So for orders, I was able to get like 11, I think, off between the command units and my 2 dice, so which is enough to get everybody activated. So what I ended up doing over here is I pulled the 6-pounder around to kind of get a better shot going down the alley here at that Panzer in the back, but I ended up missing. I observed him, but I missed the shot. So that's all that happened with that. Down here with the M10 Wolverine, put him up on top of the hill. Instead of taking a shot at the Panzer because the AP was so bad from this range, I opted to just machine gun down here. So between machine guns from, what was it? The Wolverine and this command team right here, I was able to pluck a wound off and pin these guys in the process over here. Then with the Vickers, I moved up to the 2nd floor over there. I was able to pluck off one guy here, but Vin ended up making his making a decent morale test, so they are no longer pinned. With my mortars, I tried to range in on this spot right here. First time I scattered up there, and the second time I ended up failing my comms test. So that's all really happened for the shooting. What I ended up doing, I ended up pulling another chit for a rally. I ended up rallying 3 teams, so these guys are no longer pinned. They're no longer pinned. The guys in the house are also no longer pinned, and these guys have their ambush left. So I'm going to have to make Vin go through that whole process again of pinning all these guys before he decides what he wants to do. So we'll be back in a second for top of turn 7 for the Germans. Let's see what happens here. Both armies are looking pretty good at this point, so hopefully the action starts to pick up. We are back for the top of turn 7 this turn, I believe it is, right? Or 6? No, it's top 6. Is it?
Yeah.
No, it's only 6. I only had 2 turns of reserves.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's top of turn 6. In this turn, man, missed opportunities for Vin. So last turn I unpinned all these units. So what Vin decided to go for was trying to repin and get his assaults ready to kind of make a move on that house. So between the half-tracks, the tanks, the snipers, Vin fired a whole bunch of shots in this rifle unit, this rifle team, the guys in the house, and Vin failed to pin or hit anybody. It was an absolutely terrible display. The machine gun team that was here before, they failed to pin this unit. Then they made the close assault over here. As Vin made that move, I opened up my ambush and I just gunned him down in the open. So Vin ended up losing a team right there and had to take a chit on that one. So that's all that happened on this flank over here. Up over there, Vince started moving some of his infantry teams up a little bit. The tank right here was able to kill off the mortar team that was tucked back over there. I pulled a chit and I got a beyond the call of duty, which I passed over to my 6-pounder here. I had just a wide open shot right down here, automatic, to observe it, and I rolled a 2 and a 3 on both of my hit attempts. So missed opportunity there to take out one of these panzers. So that's all that happened for Vin. He did take a chit to rally some of his pin troops, which was this rifle team here and the flak track in the back over there. So Vin is his units are fully operational at this point. So we'll be back in a second for bottom of turn 6. I got some reserves coming in, and hopefully I can reestablish some dominance here in the middle of the table. So I'll be back in a flash. We're back for bottom of turn 6 for the Brits. I got these 2 units in for reserve. My reserve dice have been terrible. My order dice have been really good. I had 7 this turn, so I was able to do some stuff. So pretty much what ended up happening was the Vickers team up there was able to pin down the rifle team and get some casualties on that side. The rifle team that was in here was able to open up and kill the 5-man squad that was kind of hung out to dry over here. What else? I put these guys in ambush. I moved up that one command team to this fence line right here to kind of help support this gap. Once again, the 6-pounder, I had 2 shots, easy money, auto observe, and I ended up failing both shots to hit. So that was kind of a bummer, which kind of put me in a position where I had to at least take some shots with the Wolverine, and I, like I said, auto observe, but I needed, I think, 5s or 6s to range in. I ended up missing on both of those, so I ended up burning 2 of my shots with those guys as well. So that's really all that happened here. I pushed up this rifle team as well to kind of get them behind the hedges to help support this front line a little bit more. So that's what we're looking at right now for the bottom of turn 6. I'll be back in a second for top of turn 7 for the Germans. We are back for the top of turn 7 for the Germans. In this turn, not a whole lot went on this one. So between Vin's sniper firing, he wasn't able to pin any of the units that he. Oh no, he was right. He pinned the 6-pounder down here on this corner with his tanks. Vin had like 11 orders, so he pretty much got everybody to go. With his tanks between this Panzer and the 2 Panzers here, they did shoot and move orders, but everybody opened up and tried to take out the Wolverine up here, and Vin just wasn't able to observe or get hits. I think he needed like 6s in most cases to register a hit, and he just wasn't able to do it. So that's what happened with the Panzers back over there. The 2 infantry teams over there, the 2 machine gun team, well, the machine gun team and the command team, they just moved their 10-inch moves and tried to push up over here since that flank's pretty open right now. I really don't have anything over there to help defend. Over here, the flak truck moved up from behind the forest over there, and he was able to open up and kill the Vickers team that was located in the 2nd floor over there. The half-track pushed up along that side over there, and he was able to kill the medic along the back. I had to pull a chit for that one, as well as the Vickers. Back here, this machine gun team and this rifle team, they both took a step back from the hedgerows to fire into the 2nd floor of that house right there. Both of them, well, one failed to observe and the other one failed to do any damage. So those guys are still looking pretty good over there. That's kind of all that really happened here for this turn, top 7. We're back in a second for bottom 7 for the Canadians. I got some reserves that can still come in. Maybe they'll make a difference. So we'll be back in a second for bottom turn 7 for the 3rd Infantry Division. So we are back for bottom of turn 7 for the Canadians. For this turn, I was able to get 2 more rifle teams back in from reserves and 1 Piat. For my orders, though, I only had 5 orders altogether, so it was kind of unfortunate. I had some pretty bad dice orders. So for this one, really wasn't that much shooting. I moved these guys up to the fence. I gave an ambush order to my Wolverine. What else did I end up doing this turn? Oh yeah, I gave an ambush order to the guys in the house over here. I moved up that Piat team, and then this Dingo I pushed up to here, and I tried to pin that half-track over there, but it didn't work out. So that's all really happened here. I did take a chit to unpin the 6-pounder to kind of force Vin to take some more pot shots at it, try to keep that side of the table occupied. So we'll be back in a second for top of turn 8 for the Germans. Vin's kind of stuck at these choke points, so we're waiting to see what kind of push he's going to make. So we'll be back in a flash. Back for the top of turn 8. In this turn, pretty decent stuff right now. So the half track over there, Vin had 7 orders altogether. So the first one he ended up opening up and taking out the 6-pounder. The 2 infantry teams, the 1 command team and then 1 machine gun team pushed into the middle of this house over here. The flag track down here was able to fire off a bunch of shots and kill 2 of the guys from that command team, but I passed my morale, so they are not pinned. What else ended up happening over here? Not really that much besides that. The tank over there had 2 shots or 2 chances to range in over here, but failed to do so. That was just a missed opportunity there. And then the tanks ended up pushing around the flank over there as well. So that's all we're really looking at right now for the top of turn 7. So we'll be back in a second for, is it top 7 or top 8?
It's that would have been top
7. Yeah, it's top 7. So we'll be back in a second for bottom of turn 7 for the Canadians. We are back for Canadians, bottom of turn 7. Pretty good turn for us. We had limited orders. We only had, I think, like 7 orders, but they came out pretty big for us. So what we did down here is we ended up firing a shot up at the sniper. We failed to observe them, so then with our move, we ended up just pushing up against the hedgerows there to kind of protect them. The Piat team that was in ambush right here, we swung around and we ended up having 1 shot. We blew up the half track, and then the entire team that was in there blew up, and it was the command team. So Vin had to pull a couple chits out of there. We gave him we played just his t-shirt saves as the vehicle exploded for the passengers. So Vin didn't pass any of the 6-ups for the guys that were in there. So that was kind of lights out for that whole part of the table there. Over here for this truck, We ended up hitting with some fire there. We ended up pulling off the last two wounds for that truck and ended up breaking that. So we had to pull a chip for that as well. The dingo we had over here had to position himself a little bit, but then he fired down. He killed one of the machine gun teams in there, and then he also pinned them. Then ended up rolling pretty bad for his morale. Up over here, we pushed up one of the command teams to kind of help support the side over here. We stayed in ambush down here, and then we ended up moving up one of our rifle teams along the fences there. And then our Piat team, we ended up pushing up to the hedgerows there to kind of protect them for a little. So that's what we're looking at right now for bottom of turn 7. We'll be back in a second for top of turn 8 for the Germans. We usually end up calling our games around 10 or 12 turns. The way things look right now for time, since it's our first game, we're probably pushing for turn 10 to wrap it all up. So we'll be back in a second for top of turn 8 for the Germans. Back for top of turn 8. Not a lot of good happening here for Vin. Down here, Vin rolled snake eyes for his orders, and he has 2 officers left, so he ended up getting 4 orders altogether. For the machine gun team that was back here in the middle of the road, he was able to fire up into the second floor of that building. I had 1 guy left up there. He ended up killing him with some machine gun fire. I failed some saves. I still have half the platoon down in the first floor over here. Vin used that Panzer IV back there and the other Panzer IV over there to fire a bunch of shots down into my Wolverine. He ended up missing. He ranged in. I think you observed him on 3 shots, but he failed to hit on any of them. I had my ambush that I set off. I was able to get 1 hit on that Panzer down there, but I rolled a 7, needing an 8, I think, to get a pen on that front armor. So that kind of sucked right there. I'm down to like 2 shots left on this tank. I think all the tanks on the table are down to pretty limited ammunition. The tank right here pushed up. He fired an HE round into that unit right there, but Vin failed to hit. So this is what we're looking at for top of turn 8. We'll be back in a second for bottom of turn 8 for the Brits. Everybody's on the table, so it's pretty much trying to break morale at this point. So we'll be back in a flash. So we are back for bottom of turn 8, and man, things got a little crazy this turn. So I took 1 shot at the top of the hill over here. I had like 7 orders or 8 orders. I took 1 shot at the top of the hill with my N10. I was able to punch through and blow up one of the tanks over there. The Panzer IVs, the command tank. Vin ended up pulling the chit. He got the mine one, so he took it on my dingo and blew up my dingo. So I had to pull a chit for that. Then over here, I pushed up with my Piat. I ended up firing down. I blew up his other Panzer, so that was pretty big right there. Any other shooting? I don't think any other damage was done this turn. Just a lot of positioning and getting guys in kind of locked down around these objectives and really just kind of hold the line for these upcoming turns. So we'll be back in a second for top of turn 9 for the Germans. Vin got that 1 Panzer and some infantry left, so he's going to kind of have to make a push. So we'll be back in a flash. So we are back for the top of turn 9 for the Germans. Not much happened here. Vin had some orders. He kind of positioned some guys up there. Vin tried to swing his supply truck around, but I popped the ambush. I got a bunch of hits with the rifle team, so I was able to kind of just blow that guy up and wreck him in the middle of the road over there. So that's what we're looking at right here. After that happened, Vin opted to concede because he really didn't have any options. I don't think he had enough of firepower to either push an objective or get me to break. So this is what we're looking at. We'll be back in a second for the end of game recap and kind of talk about how our battle plans went and how the game ended up turning. So we are back for our end of game recap for our first game of Battlegroup. I gotta say, overall, I had a lot of fun. I mean, like learning the rules, the time it took for us to finish the game, I think we were pushing like 4 hours.
Okay, closer to 5.
Yeah, so I mean, like for this size game, like I said, we did a lot of looking in the books and stuff, but I assume that's going to speed up drastically once we start playing a little bit more. But yeah, it was a lot of fun this game. I guess I'll start over with my my Canadian defense and what I was thinking initially, and then we'll kind of take it from there. So what I ended up doing, when I deployed over here, the plan from the start was to kind of keep the 6-pounder over there and try to control the road and slow Vin down as much as possible. and it kind of pushed him to the back over there, which I was expecting to happen because I didn't have enough of AT in the list at range to really kind of counter that. But I figured as long as Vin was pushing along that back table edge, that would keep the Panzer really out of play in the middle of the table where I didn't want it. So I was able to keep the 6-pounder there and control that road, and then kind of push him over here. And between moving the 6-pounder there mid-game, and then having all my rifle teams here with the Piat and these guys controlling this house, just like I said, the mission that we ended up rolling up, it really worked from a defensive standpoint because it came down to just two choke points. The hedgerows, the little push into the farm right here, that road, and then, like I said, the backside over there. So it really helped me out defensively early on, being able to get rifle and machine gun fire to keep the infantry and any support vehicles at bay down there, and then getting the 6-pounder kind of triggered in over there. And when I had the M10 sitting over here on this hilltop, kind of looking down the chute over there as well, I had enough of AT at distance to kind of keep Vin honest at the middle over there. And then with the Piat teams that I had, the one in ambush there, and then I had a couple of them pushing in from ambush over, pushing in from reserve over here, I was kind of able to worry about that choke point a little bit later in the game, which which kind of made the defense a little bit easier as more troops came on. It kind of worked out pretty well for us right here. Like I said, if we were doing the mortars right and that's how they play, I'm definitely going to be bringing mortars into to every list. I mean, they don't hit every turn, and the communications and everything that go with it. The chances of you biffing on it is pretty good, but when it hits, man, I mean, you really can wreck somebody's back line or definitely stunt their advance pretty well just by pinning units. Initially, when I was looking at the rule books, I thought you just rallied at the end of your turn and you got some of those units back. I didn't realize you had to pull a chit, so you really have to think about it. Think about it a little bit more. And like I said, I realized that once we started playing the game for this game. So, having to make that decision whether you're going to pull a chit and take that hit to your morale just to see how many random units you unpin. It's a big decision, and you just don't want to do it willy-nilly. You really want to kind of let those units sit pinned for a little while if you're not going to be in action, and if you really need them in the fight for the next turn, it's worth doing. But it's a big decision to make, especially these low point totals too, because a couple bad pulls and things go really, really bad. And like I said, we called the game turn 9. We were going to play to turn 10. I think my battle rating, I went from a 32 down to a 10. Even with all the units I lost, I was pulling a lot of 1s and 2s and 3s for my morale, which worked out pretty good. I think Vin went from a 28 down to a 4. I think before he ended up calling us. So Vin was pulling a lot of 3s and 4s overall. So like I said, the defense that I had, it went pretty well. I was expecting to lose one of these objectives, but like I said, things kind of went my way. There was a couple turns in the middle of the game where Vin's Panzers, they weren't able to pin anybody with the AP. It didn't. Yeah, I mean, with the AG, there was definitely some turns there where Vin's tanks, they just didn't support the infantry that well, and it kind of slowed the game down and helped me get positioned better with my reserves to answer the call. So I don't know, Vin, what were you thinking of your first game of Battlegroup and how your plan worked out?
I think the game's awesome. I like it personally. I like it a lot better than Flames of War. Battle plan wise, I think it was great. Just obviously the dice were against me on this one. The fact that one Panzer for what was that, like 4 rounds where I didn't get a single observation.
Yeah.
I did. It missed.
Yeah, up here whenever you're at the crossroads. Yeah, that Panzer, he just biffed, man.
And then I had
bad news.
Then I had that one turn where I pinned your entire army in the front, and then went to go.
Oh, then I rallied. Yeah, I did the rally, got everybody.
Then you got the rally, and everybody came back. And then the next turn, I didn't hit a single shot with any of my vehicles or troops. Yeah, it was literally just bad dice.
That was I think that was the turning point in the games. I think if you had been able to repin those guys and really get the assault off and take that farmhouse and then start getting your units kind of funneled through here, just making a fight along these fence lines here, I think it would have been a much different game because I didn't have enough of AT to hold you back. I think if you would have broke through at that point, after I got some more Piats out of reserve, it made a difference. But I think after playing a game too, you can definitely, like I said, I brought like almost a pure infantry list. I had Piats for close range AT, but I only had the Wolverine and that 6-pounder, which didn't do anything really, just more of a deterrent, a threat.
Yeah, your 600 did more than my Panzers.
Yeah, which was barely nothing. Yeah. So like, I think like going through and playing this, I think you can definitely get away with playing a recce and infantry team, infantry list, and still be really effective. And I mean, like I said, the tanks are good, but with the limited ammo, you kind of gotta have to pick your shots. And with anything being able to blow up anything for the most part for the medium tanks, you can't just hang your tanks out there and just start plugging away. You really have to think about how you use them. So like I said, overall fun game. We'll be doing some more of this without a doubt. Like I loved it. I had a lot of fun. So we'll be back maybe next week or the week after with another battle group battle report. Try to keep things rolling. Probably gonna stay around 400 points until we kind of get more comfortable with the rules. Might mix up the list a little bit once we find out what mistakes we made and maybe try out some different units on the table. So like I said, thanks for watching. Leave some comments. For you new guys, like or subscribe, because we'll be putting out some more of these videos for you guys to watch. So like I said, thanks for watching. We'll catch you guys later.